So we have had Elvis Presley to start off, followed by madness to round out.
With some William Rimmer mixed in.
With William Rimmer mixed in. Yeah. Great to see a band again like that playing so much different music. From Punch and Hello to Baggy Trousers. You've got to admit, that's going somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a good mixed programme, wasn't it?
Yeah, the band enjoyed themselves as well. Yeah. That's the main thing.
You know Rupert yourself, is it?
Yeah, I played at Desford with Rupert. Rupert was on first trombone, going back to the early 1990s, I guess. And Rupert was on first, I was on bass, and we had a Kiwi called Elgar Clayton on second trombone, who I don't think I've seen for a long time, actually, but we had a good section, yeah.
Happy days then for you then, was it?
Yeah, they were good days, yeah. They were
the days when madness was top of the
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we'll be joined back, of course. We've got Nicholas Charles, we've got Keith Wilkerson, and also Brett Baker's come back to join us as well. We're going to talk something a little bit all about a very big competition that's taking place next week. As you can see in front of us is a certain trophy. Unfortunately, the band that wins today will not be taking that trophy home with them, although there must be some players all out there wish they could, because it's quite a fan.
I got a second.
Chris has had a second.
I've got a third.
He's got a third. 2 second places.
Nothing like
this
that.
is when it gets a little bit different.
You that deal.
Five or six, yeah.
I love the way they say 5 or 6. After a while it blurs, there's even there.
I had a third on ballet for band.
Oh, I remember that.
That's with GUS.
I remember that.
Little Dave.
And a very important sixth with William Davis.
On Odin.
That's what we're talking about.
I remember that one.
Yeah, William Davis.
Yeah, you were.
And the person at the end, of course, who is the current incumbent of taking this home with it. But tell us, is that in the front room?
I wish it was in my front room. It's normally at the band room in Queensbury, looked after extremely well. At his last showing last night in Scunthorpe, and we'll be working hard this afternoon. The same as the rest of it. Yeah. It's a great test piece that we're working on, so it'll be good to do.
We're going to do a little bit of quiz question. Hopefully, I know the answer, but this is going to come here. There is a link between this trophy and the original FA Cup. Now, I will give you a chance back at home to think about what it is, but we'll give you the answer. There's no prizes for anything, but it's a type of trivia that's going to keep us going throughout the day.
Don't tell me, Stanley Matthews with silicon at
They say the Matthews Nationals, not the Matthews Cup, but the Matthews Nationals there. So we do that. So back to you then, Nick. Defending champions next week, playing Spirity, Royal Albert Hall. Pressure is always on Black Dyke. But tell us a little bit about what the Nationals in effect mean for you, because you've been there as a player, been there as a conductor as well. So,
well, I've never won it as a player.
Never.
I never won as a player. Came pretty close a couple of times, but never won as a player. You're right. There's always pleasure. I know you're unfortunate because you're a Liverpool fan, but
yes.
but I like managers, and you know when I think of Bill Shankly, he had a great saying, and you know he always used to say pressure is a privilege, and I think that's when you're at Black Dyke, it is very much like that. And the first thing you've got to do is to put some work in. With a piece like Spirity, it's a proper piece. It's substantial in every possible way. I know it was 2010 European. At that time played at the Bruckner Hall, and he says the spirit of Bruckner lives with him throughout the piece. Brett and I played it in 2010. A lot for trombones to do, a lot of atmospheric things with all the glisses that go with it. But look, Bruckner has an awful lot to do with it. It's the bar chorales that have a tremendous impact as it goes in it. And if you wanted to look like that D'Artagnan conducting, I've got to tell you this at one section, that's really tricky. That's really tricky.
We're looking forward to that one. There's Kenny, as you said, is competition this week. Strong band's going to be there. It's going to be a great cracking contest.
We've seen that in the last few years, haven't we? If you look at that, and I think that the difficulty of the test pieces at the area contest is what's doing that. So the best bands are getting through almost every time. You know, there's always one or two casualties. You'll get a band in maybe the northwest that'll drop it because there's only two going through. But really, the last 2 or 3 years we've had really outstanding lineups at the Humber Hall, haven't we? And I think, you know, even that piece as difficult as Spirity, which, you know, 2010 there was 10 to 11 different performances I fit. They were all good. I mean, I think we can expect just as many good ones next weekend as well. It's going to be tough, but there's enough good bands there to do it, isn't there?
Well, looking back at that, Keith, you said you were memories of the Nationals. So you talked about Gus. I remember that because Tredegar I was playing for we went on after you, and we had the same uniforms, and everybody thought we were coming
We were
on
the
that.
same.
I think we came 16th,
Yeah.
you came 3rd on
That's
that day.
right.
But
I mean, that was a wonderful day with GUS, and the composer actually wrote me a very nice letter afterwards saying he thought we'd won, but dare I say, with Welshmen around me, Corey won that
He
day.
did,
yeah.
So, yeah.
One of the years that formed their hat-trick, actually, wasn't
That's
it? back
right,
then?
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Brett, for you, memories or further memories? Hopefully, you're not going to give up playing yet, do you?
Hopefully not yet. No, it's always great. I think the piece will suit the hall, and the hall will suit the piece. I think this coming weekend, which is great. Yeah, I think one of the ones that sticks in my mind is the first one that myself and Nick won. That was really great.
And we're the only brass band in our area anyway, so educating people, if that's the right word to use, as to what a brass band can play. You know, the repertoire that we play, the variety of instruments. You don't need to do that. People know what Black Dyke's going to do, what they're going to play, what the band is going to sound like. You know, there's a certain amount of... And in the States, there's a lot of high school and university marching bands which are very loud and in your face and so on. And I think when they hear the name brass band, they're thinking they're just sitting down playing marching band repertoire. So
It's fair to say that the quality of playing in the States has improved substantially in bands, Keith, in recent years.
yeah, I mean, I think the brass band championships in the States are probably about 35 years old now, and even in the 20 years I've been there's been a rapid progression in terms of quality and appreciation of true brass band sounds, you know, getting the middle of the band to sound the way that we want the middle of the band to sound.
Strange, isn't it? Because do they see it as a very British tradition? Because brass bands in America have been there.
Well, yeah, I mean, going back
as long as in Britain.
But
The
very
great
different
cornet
style
players.
of brass bands.
So the great cornet players, you know, Herbert Clark,
Yeah,
American cornet players.
That's right.
And of course, the only real professional brass band is in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
River City Band, the only one there. And a little bit for us that, from Black Knight's point of view, we're going over to New York to do one concert.
With the New York staff band.
Yeah, in the end of March, just for a weekend, and so we're looking forward to that.
Or fly in concert.
That is literally that, and so we travel on the Friday. We arrive on a Friday afternoon, concert on Saturday, come back on Sunday.
Brett, you've been all over the world, you know, playing as a soloist and guesting with bands. America has been on your list a number of times.
Yeah. In
Brett's
fact, I've been
played with my band
Keith band
5 or 6 times.
in Ohio, quite a few tours over there, and in fact we went to Midwest as well, didn't we?
That's
And,
right.
did some concerts. So travel with Keith. We've had a couple of my colleagues, White River Brass, a small group came over once, and we did some concerts around Detroit, and then myself and Dave Thornton went over and did a concert with Keith. So and in fact, talking about Switzerland, that's where me and Keith met.
Yeah, Brett came as our guest.
Adept was
Yeah.
a guest.
Second trombone player. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You do that part of it there. Following on again from that, again going back with talk with the Black Dyke Lincoln here at Bolsover. Nick, Carol Hurst, who does so much good work here, and the arts development they have here. Tell us a little bit what Black Dyke are doing here as well, because you've linked in with a couple of projects now, which you're going to carry on for this year and next year.
We've got a project where I'll be going to some of the local schools in Shirebrook, and they'll be uncovering perhaps some of their nursery rhymes that are more provincial. And from those nursery rhymes, they'll be going to Paul Lovett Cooper, who will then be setting that to film. I'll be working with the Shirebrook Miners Welfare Band, with the Shirebrook Academy, and we're all going to come together as it were, rubbing shoulders with champions. And fondly, the film will be called Child's Play. And but you know, when you think of Bolsover, the profile that has been raised by the council, but of course they bring in the right people, and led by Carol, you know, the profile of Bolsover has got to be as high as anywhere in the country now for brass bands. For brass bands.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that later. Before I know you've got to race off because you said you've got rehearsal. About 5 hours worth, I understand, a little bit later on. But for the time being, we've got to go back to the hall to find out the results, because the results of the unregistered section will be taking place. So it's either going to be Newark, Town Band or Carlton training. So we've got to make up our minds here, but we can't say anything, but we're going to leave it over to the adjudicator and go back to the hall now.